Hello and welcome to one of our lessons. So we're going to be talking about senses in nature. I'm Miss Marisa. Let's get started. So let's go over our 5 senses. So we have our sense of smell, our sense of hearing, our sense of taste, our sense of touch, and our sense of sight. In our lesson today, we're going to be focusing just on our sense of sight and how we can use that. Here's what we're going to learn. How can we describe something we see? We will learn to pay attention to the things around us. And how do we use sight to connect better to nature? So let's get started with how we describe things that we see. So we're going to try and come up with some describing words that we use to describe things that we see. So try and think of a couple words just inside your head of ways to talk about something that you see with your eyes. So you can look at anything around you and try and figure out how you would describe it with just using your eyes. So not your sense of hearing or your sense of taste or even your sense of smell. So I've just come up with a couple ways we can describe things. So some words we can use are colors. So we can say something is blue or red, brown, maybe yellow. We can also talk about texture. So the texture is the way something is on the outside. So something might be fuzzy or sharp or smooth or sandy. We can also describe it using the shape. So maybe something is more circular, or maybe it is a triangle or more of a square. And lastly, I'm using the size. So maybe something is very big or very small. And there are many ways to describe things. These are just a couple of them. On this screen, I have some images of common things that you would see outside, either in your backyard or around your neighborhood or even in the gardens. So let's focus in on some things. We see this flower, we see a shed, a bush, a rock, a plant, a shovel, and here we have 3 leaves, and they have different sizes, different shapes, and different colors. So I'm going to point out one of these things, and I'm going to have you describe it in your head using some of the words that we talked about. So let's describe this flower here. So we can talk about color, maybe the number of petals, maybe the size, maybe the shape, or the texture. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds just to think about it in your head. All right, now let's look at another slide. Here we have some more images of common things we'd see outside. We have this rake, a tree, a beetle, some soil, a worm, a watering can, and a water spout. Now I'm going to pick something else. I'm going to have you describe it inside your head. We have a lot of different things here of different sizes, shapes, and colors. Let's do this worm. All right, so think about it in your head, some words you want to describe this worm. Now let's play a game to see if we can use our sense of sight to look for a couple items in the garden. Here on the left-hand side, I'm going to show you a small video of the Nathan Hale School Garden. And you're going to try and look for some of the items that I have here. I have a shovel, a water spout, some soil, and a rake. Let's see if we can find them in this video. All right, I think I saw some of these items, but I'm going to play it again just to give you a second chance. All right, so I saw a shovel, some soil, and the rake, but I didn't see this water spout. If you missed anything, let's watch it again and I'll point it out. Here's the shovel. We have lots of soil everywhere. Here, and here, and right at the end, here's our rake. But I didn't see the water spout. All right, now we're going to do it one more time and have a couple different items. Here we have a plant, a worm, a shed, and a bug. Let's see what we can find. I'm going to show you one more time. So I saw two things here. Did you see the same two things? I saw plants and I saw the shed. And I did see some bug flying around, but I don't think it was a worm or a beetle. Let's watch one more time and see if you can see the shed and the plants. All right, I'll point some of them out to you. So here we have the shed, lots of plants. We do see a little bug flying around, but not a worm or a beetle. All right, I hope you had fun with that. Let's move on to our next part. So we're gonna talk about how we can use sight to connect to nature. How as humans do we use our sense of sight to feel more comfortable in nature? So sight allows you to see pretty things like flowers and trees. Sight allows you to pick things that you can eat. So if you see a plant, you'll be able to pick the tomatoes, or if you see a tree, you'll be able to pick the apples. And sight can also help you describe something you saw to another person who wasn't there. So you can tell a parent about a cool plant that you saw earlier in the day. And you can use your sense of sight in your describing words in order to tell them what you saw and have them imagine what you saw with your eyes. So sight is a very important way for humans to connect with nature. And I really hope you enjoyed this lesson for today. Have a great rest of your day.